This video is going to walk you through how to build from scratch this dashboard here, which uses disjunction as the logical operator across selection criteria. So here are two selection criteria, are a state type and property type. So the first thing we need to do is capture the selection in a way that we can use it in a calc, and the calculation will define our correct logic. So I'm going to go and create a set for both the estate type and the property type. So estate and property right here. And then we can just set up an action that associates the correct worksheets with those particular actions. So estate type is going to update the estate set, while the property type is going to update the property set. Okay, so let's select freehold and terraced, and that will just add some values into those sets, which we can now use to analyze our percent of records that are in or out of the selection. So one thing you might try is to create a combined set from these, and you'll note that it doesn't give you the option. So combined sets only apply when you're combining sets that are on the same dimension, the same level of detail. So for example, if you had two countries and one was countries that were in the 2018 World Cup and one was countries that were in the 2014 World Cup, then the combined set would let you find which countries were in one or both of those World Cups. In this case, because they're different dimensions, that doesn't actually make sense, because we're not analyzing estates or property types. We're actually analyzing individual properties, and so that's why a row level calculation is the way to express that logic. So in this case, we're going to say if it's in the estate set or in the property set, that is going to be our filter condition. And so because these sets are in out of a set is just equivalent to true false of a Boolean. So this is saying when this is true, i.e. when something's in the set, or when this is true, then this statement is also true. And so from that, we then get our filter condition here. And so let's just make this one blue and this one white. Okay, and so then we can see right away here what percent of total records meet one or the other of our conditions. And then we'll just add the total number of properties here as well. So that gives us our first total. And so now let me go and duplicate that. The next one that we want to see is the breakdown. So of the ones that meet the selection criteria, how many meet both and how many just meet one? So then we can create another calculation here that says if they are in both of the sets, so using the AND condition, then that is the AND operator. Otherwise, if they are in one or the other, then that is going to use the OR condition. And then otherwise, they're not in either. And so this now becomes, let's just call this logic. And then we can add that to color instead. And so this one here, we're gonna make this one white. This always blows people's mind. They're like, you can make it white. Like, I know, I didn't know for the longest time either. And then we'll use a sort of darker color for AND and a lighter color for OR. Okay, and so now we have, now we can see that 11% of the total meet one, 24% of total properties meet both of those criteria. Then the other thing we wanted is to also see what percent of total is represented within just the selection, so within these two here. And so to do that, we need, instead of just the number of properties overall, we need a measure for number of selected properties. And so we can create a calculation that conditionally returns the properties for the situation when the filter condition is met. So just return the properties when this thing is true. And this now becomes your number of properties in the selection. And so this is useful, A, for creating that calculation, but B, for just formatting this visualization, because you probably don't want things that are out of your selection to actually be labeled. So what you can do here is use actually, let me just reverse these two here. So use the second one here, the number of properties in the selection for all of your labels, and then I'll just add the next percent of total calculation here as well. So 25% is, let's maybe reorder this. So 25% is of the total, 68% is of the selection. And then on our number of properties pill, we can just remove everything and then make this thing white. And then dual axis and synchronize the axes. And then the total number of properties is going to force your selected number of properties to synchronize with all of the other things. So just a nice little trick there. And so that gives us now our second level of total. And then we need the third kind of view here, which gives you the actual breakdown. So for this OR condition here, what percent of it is, I forget what I picked, but freehold, and what percent of it is terraced. So then we need a final calculation which returns the breakdown based on the sets. So in this case, if both conditions are met, so if it's in the estate set and the property set, then we want to return the intersection of those two things here. So basically create a combined field that concatenates the estate type and the property type. Otherwise, if it's just in the estate set, then return the estate type label. And then if it's just in the property set, then return the property type label, and then otherwise it's not in your selection. And note that in this case as well, the order in which you apply these statements also matters, so always start with the AND condition. And so now we can add that breakdown to our bar chart here, and then just add a border so you can see kind of which one is which. And we can go and put the breakdown on the label as well. So now we can go and build our dashboard here, and let me just stick in a horizontal layout container for these ones so they all align. Okay, and remove those guys. And this is pretty much that example now done. So as you make different selections here, we can start to see, so that's freehold and flat, freehold and terraced, and so that is the example now, completely rebuilt from scratch. So that's all for this specific example. I'm going to create a separate video on what to do in the instance where the cardinality of your data set is so high that you need search. In this example, we have 2 items and 4 items, so using an action works perfectly well. But for example, we had a banking customer who wanted to create an application for their portfolio managers where they select either a subset of customers or a subset of portfolios. That requires the ability to search. So in the next video, I'll show you how you can set that up. Thanks for watching.